Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Real News Talk Show. I'm your host, Josie Latimer, coming to you today, bringing you the story about, remember the hot felon, Jermey Meeks? Well, actually, Jermey Meeks was the handsome young man with the blue eyes that mugshot went viral. And when he got out of prison, he was in there for some time, and then when he got out, jobs were still waiting on him. Look, I saw an interview with Jeremy Meeks on Hot Waters or some type of talk show where he was interviewed by the host, and my entire thoughts about Jeremy Meeks has totally changed after listening to his interview. Feeling the warmness of his spirit and of his heart, I changed my entire attitude. Before I was like, oh, he left his wife with those two kids and she stood by him when he was in prison, and he went and went and had that baby by that rich lady, Chloe Green. But listen, you guys, I'm proud of Jeremy Meeks. I really am, because Jeremy Meeks told his story of how he survived. Both his parents were heroin addicts, you guys. They were both heroin addicts. Jeremy Meeks had no parents, and he was a heroin baby. So he knew nothing. He was just a victim of society trying to find his way in life as a young man, a young child. His sister, he said, went into the Air Force or the Army, came and got him and his brother. I think it was him and his brother, or him and his other sister, his other sibling, at the age of 20 years old, and she became their guardian. He said that her name is on their birth certificate. Wow, how horrific is that? So he was trying to find a place in life, and his dad ended up in prison I think he had gotten a life sentence in prison for murdering his mother's friend. This child had been through so much until God knew that it was time to make a change for him. And this is when he said crime sometimes does pay off, because it definitely paid off for him. Now, he said he and his wife, Melissa, was going through some things prior to him actually, I don't know if getting with Chloe Green or they was going through some things. He said the media blew up everything. But even in that, because of what he had been through in life, and he had been away for so long, and he said he was blessed because he did give some judge that released him from 63 months to 2.5 years. And that gave him his chance to succeed in his modeling career, because the judge knew he had went viral, so he didn't want to hold him 60-some months. And he said it was a black judge, African-American judge, that he wanted to give shout outs to on that interview for releasing him so that he can go ahead and pursue his career. And so the lady that was interviewing him said, I know he will be proud of you to this day, which he probably is, that judge that let him have a less sentence. Now, when he got out, because of the fact he said he had been in prison like a total of 9.5, 10 years. So when he got out, most of the time he wasn't with his wife Melissa anyway, because he had been in jail so long. So maybe perhaps they did grow apart, but everyone thought that when he got out, because of the fact that Melissa was with him, catering to him as any woman would their husband, if indeed that they are incarcerated. That is something a woman normally would do anyway. But because of the time that he was in and out of jail, he named so many different jails that I'm familiar with, because I'm from California. My God, San Quentin, that's a tough one. And he said he was right next to Charles Manson for 18 months. Can you imagine a man like that in the next cell from you for 18 months? Oh my God. Jeremy Meeks went through a lot, and because of the love for his children, and then I like the fact that he did acknowledge his wife in a sweet way. He even said, I still love her. He still loves her because he remembered those things that she did for him, no matter what people said. And he even admitted that it was my fault. So at least he was man enough to fess up. He was man enough to say it was his fault. And he's a father to his sons after having crackhead parents. His mother was white, his daddy was black. So the lady said, where you get the blue eyes? He said, from my mother. He said he had no idea about anything about computers. He didn't know anything about viral. He didn't know anything about contracts. He didn't know anything about business. He didn't know jack. Matter of fact, he said he only had a 5th grade reading ability. He could only read up to the 5th grade. This young man was just blessed in any way you look at it. Because of the fact of possibly what he went through as a child, God saw fit to put him in the position that he's in now, and also put him where he met Chloe Green, whether they're still together or not. They did make a baby, and I understand, I heard through the grapevine that they're not together, but he said to the lady that, yeah, we still communicate, and she's doing good, and his son lives here, and his other son is back with his mother, so evidently he still have a good relationship with Melissa because of the fact that he has full custody of his son, and he still allows Melissa, his wife, to see the child. I think I heard long ago that he even paid to have that child, or him and Chloe decided to have that child. But now the child is back in Stockton, California, and with the mother. So my thing is that even though he was a criminal, he was a Crip, a gang member, he said actually he was born in Washington. And then when he went to California, he didn't know anything about red, blue, all of the colors of the gang members. And so he had to fight for his life. He had to fight in prison for his life. This man had to fight, and he's lucky he still have the face that he have in order to do the things that he's doing. When I heard his story, everything that I thought about him, I said, oh, he's just a ghetto gangster. He married that girl for all the money, and he's a bum, and he's this and that. But when I actually heard him and saw that he was about to let tears out about his child, when she asked him, she said, what was you thinking when you took that mug shot? He said, I was thinking about I can't take my child to school, and I can't pick him up from school, and his child was on his mind. Now that almost brought tears to my eyes for a man to have the love for his child. And he really said he ended up going to jail just like his daddy. And so the father is out of prison now, but guess what? Every time you try to help someone, I've done that too in my family, and they turn around and kick you in the butt. The father tried to sell a story, and he's not supposed to communicate with him because they both want parole, and you're not supposed to communicate with another person on parole. And the daddy is doing this interview saying, oh yeah, I communicate with him and this and that. So he had to call his parole officer and say, look, my daddy haven't talked to Chloe Green or nothing. He haven't seen my baby. He don't know any of that. He haven't. So I don't know what he's telling the press or the news, but I just want you guys to know, because that could have actually took that boy, messed him up with his career that he's blessed with now. You know? So there are different prisoners that get out and grow and be different. But his father, I don't know if it's because he murdered someone and Jermey was just in the gang with the drugs and this and that, and he didn't really kill anyone. But that father was a hardcore criminal to get out and to try to blackmail his son, that the son hadn't seen him since he was a baby, don't really know anything about it, and was sending him, he said I was sending him $2,000 and $3,000 here and there, and every time he look up he's calling him for money. He didn't even have to do that because he wasn't there for him, but he felt like, because that is my father and I'm a father, I have sons, I want to connect with my father. Well, that didn't happen because his daddy blew it. So some people get institutionalized and they stay that way, and others have the mindset to grow and become someone in life. Because Jermey said he didn't know what he was going to do with his life. And at one time he was a forklifter. And I mean, you could tell within his demeanor, it was meaning when he was saying all of this stuff that happened to him, all the pain he went through, why he had that tear on his eye because he was a crybaby. He just told it like it was, and my heart reached out to Jermey Meeks for what he went through. And also when he said that he tried to help bring some of his friends into his circle, but they were embarrassing. And that's why a lot of people say when you get money, oh, they think they better than me now that they are pulled up. No, it's because you couldn't pull up to their level or even fake it off when you're in an environment where you know cameras are rolling at all times on celebrities and you're going to be acting stupid. So no, it's not the celebrities. It's not the people that's trying to bring you up. It's you trying to bring them back down. For those people that would say a celebrity is trying to be more than them. I'm quite sure they've tried to help many people. And like my granddad used to tell me, I always reach back to my parents and my roots of the things that they taught me. When you try to, oftentimes when you help people to pull them up, you know what they do? They turn around and kick you in your butt every time or pull you down. So sometimes it's best to just leave well alone and, just say, hey, I'm sorry. Like he said, he tried it one time and I don't blame him. So did I. And that's all I needed was one time to know if someone really deserved to be in my circle. Period. All it takes is one time. Don't be a fool and have them drain you or mess up your career just because they couldn't reach up to your level. That's not your fault. Because if you were in prison and you could reach up to a certain level, why can't they, when they wasn't in prison, reach up to your level? Come on now. That's what I'm saying. So I think differently of Jermey Meeks, the hot felon who left his wife, got married to the heiress overseas, I think it's London, and everybody was bashing him because he had left his wife, Melissa. Well, actually, he really didn't know Melissa. If he was in and out of jail 9.5 years, almost 10 years, and they were married 9, he really didn't know a lot about her. So nobody knows what goes on. But I was right along with those people that was really angry at him. But when I heard his story, you guys, born by two heroin addicts, and was a heroin baby. And when his sister came to get them and he was young, he was in and out of the heroin houses with his parents, and when his sister went to the military and came and got her siblings, at that point, he just wanted better for himself. And he probably was hurt because he didn't have his parents. His daddy went to prison for killing somebody. That stuff that can really scar a kid. So I'm really proud of Jermey Meeks for sharing his story and letting the world see there was another side of the story, which makes a person, when you see them grow, it makes them bigger than what you thought, because he was able so far to pull out of it, and I hope he continue on the path that he's on. But he seemed to be very well grounded. He seemed to now know business, which he didn't know anything about business. He said, I didn't even know anything about a contract. He said, matter of fact, people was calling him in jail and he was just sitting there on the stuff. He didn't know. But one thing he was afraid about was when he did go viral, would it still stand when he get out? And because he was a hot felon, it did stand. It did stand, and he said people was just sending him money in and out of jail, thousands of dollars, putting it on his books. He was just blown away. But all of that came because the universe remembered God, what he went through when he was a child. He was robbed of his childhood, you guys. He joined the gang to feel like he was a part of society, not knowing that was going to take him down the wrong path. And he left his sister's house at the age of 15 years old and hit the streets and was in and out of jail. He named about 6, 7, 8 prisons that he was in. Unbelievable. So I'm really, really proud of him for being the father that he is, and I wish him all the success. And he and Chloe Green they have a son together. So hopefully, whether they're together or not, well, oftentimes when you leave your wife and get with someone else, that doesn't work anyway. But because he's still a father to his sons and the love that he has for both of his sons, that's what matters to me. And he also said he wants a little girl so he can spoil her to death. And he has that heart of an Aquarius person. That's what I am. That's what Oprah is. Aquarius are people love people. And like he was saying, sometimes he could have a fork halfway of his mouth and somebody want to come take a picture, and guess what? He'll go ahead and take it with them. Because he says if they was bold enough to come to a celebrity and want a picture, then he felt that they deserve that picture. I like that about him too. And that would be me. That would be me. If somebody want to take a picture with me and I'm just here happy that God have saved me from all of the things that life tried to pull me down. Same with Jermey Meeks. When life tried to pull you down and you get the strength and you pull up and you become successful and you become a celebrity, you become the person that you didn't even know that you would become, that's pretty doggone deep. So with that, you guys, I'm going to end my commentary about Jermey Meeks, the hot felon that went viral and became a high-class model, married an heiress in London, had a baby by her, divorced his wife in Stockton, California, which actually he didn't really know her. She was nice enough to go in and out of prison, taking care of him when he was in and out of prison, but he still didn't know her like you would think. But I love the fact that he said, I still love her, and he's probably still taking care of her. So nobody knows. One day they possibly could get back together, or even if they don't, because of the type of person that he is. And from his interview, I could feel the spirit, and I could feel that he could have been worse. He could have been worse. He could have been just a bum forever, or he could have gotten out, landed those roles for just a couple of weeks, and by now gone back to the slammer. That didn't happen. I hope it won't happen. And I really, really, really can say that I like Jermey Meeks' spirit from the interview that he did on video. Thank you for tuning in, and please click like, share, and subscribe so I can come back with some more of my thoughts on various topics. Thank you for watching The Real News Talk Show. Talk to you later. Click like, share, and subscribe. Share it with a friend so I can come back with more. Bye.